Good morning to everyone. Today we will not cover any new topics. We will not do task 2, task 1. Today we will have only open feedback session due to the fact that some of the essays are in poor quality. I have misunderstandings. My comments on the essays, I guess it's not enough because still you have to hear to my voice. I hear what is wrong with your essays and why the mark is so low or why mark is so high. So that's why I have selected around 15 essays to be marked online. I will mark as much as possible today. The rest will be left to the next lesson. If you will have any questions, please use the chat, not microphones. Please turn off your microphones. So here's the email that was sent by our student. Email is familiar to everyone. We have done it last lesson about the sports facility, that you are a college student. From the outlook of the essay, the structure looks good. All is followed, it's all paragraphed, it's nice. However, let's read out and see what can be improved here. Okay, first of all, what was the requirement? You had to introduce yourself, say why you're interested in this sports club, ask some questions about the club, facilities, members, and cost. So these 3 things were important. So your questions has to be related not only to facilities, but you can do to all 3. Your interest, why exactly you're interested? Saying that you don't have a sports facility at your college and that's why you want to go to this sports club is not a reason why you are interested. Okay, let's start. I'm writing this email to inquire about the sports club called A Club and its conditions as I would like to become a member of it. I'm an 18-year-old girl who recently started a course in a new college. It seems nice, no grammar mistakes. However, this section, it does not relate to introduce yourself part because your age and that you're a girl and you study at college is irrelevant. By saying introduce yourself part, they meant who are you? Are you freshman at college? What college? So this part has to be rephrased. So first. I will rephrase this introduction to make it sound better. By one of the students, was proposed to start in this way, and it was really good idea. So one mistake of a student can lead to change of a whole paragraph. So be careful while you are giving information. Maybe this sounds better in your own language, in Uzbek and Russian, but when you translate it to English and put it there, it doesn't sound correct. To say that you're an 18-year-old girl and you are new at the college. Now let's look at next paragraph. What's wrong here? Let's make a space. Unfortunately, the current college doesn't have any sports facilities. Thus, I was looking for a sports club near my house and came across the advertisement for this club in the internet. As an energetic individual, I am keen on sport as well as I pay great attention to my lifestyle, so physical activity should be an integral part of my routine. Also, I heard that your center mostly offers recreation facilities, and it's exactly what I really like about athletic clubs. Okay, this part had to be included in the introduction and the purpose part, so it's out. Thus, I was looking for a sports club near my house and searched on internet. The student is wasting the word count because why? Because the task hasn't asked you to say where did you see it? Was it advertisement? Was it on TV? Was it on a banner? It didn't. But this part is relevant. This part has to be rephrased more correctly. So now let's change it. This part can be taken. Now let's look at next paragraph, B2. Owing to lack of information on the internet, I have to ask some questions. First, I would like to be informed about monthly payment. Second, could you please let me know whether you have swimming pool and accommodate events such as basketball and volleyball? Look, this part doesn't glue to the previous one. It has no link. Whether you have swimming pool and accommodate events such as basketball and volleyball. So I have to remove this part and change a little bit at the start. Saying I have to ask some questions is not suitable to be written in the email. Try to be more kind. Say, for example, I would like to ask some questions. It's better. So instead of saying it's on internet, you can see on your page. Okay, going to here the task mentioned that you're a college student for a reason, because in most sports clubs abroad, they give discount for students. So it's good information to input here. And the monthly payment for what? They have different kinds of membership. You have to mention for exact kind or for the all classes of membership. Now your next question. Second, I will take this part of the student. And instead of asking about basketball and volleyball, I will ask for a trainer, for a coach. So now we are done. I would really appreciate if I receive all the answers as soon as possible. Thank you in advance. Yours faithfully, Lily Miller. Now let's see the whole email. There it is. The word count is it exceeds the limit of a student, but this information has to be included. If the student of this email will have any questions, she or he can ask me through the chat or through the Telegram. Here, I just wanted to show the mistakes and what kind of information could be included into the email, because most of the students has not included such information about the details of the membership, about the price, about the discounts to be included, or additional questions has not been asked. Okay, now let's look at the next feedback. Advantage and disadvantage. So I give you a clear structure to follow. And as I see here, the structure has not been followed at all. Okay, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? The structure for this task was this one. Introduction. Main paragraph, which had to be stronger and bigger than second one. And your conclusion. But by looking at this essay, I already can say the student has followed no structure. Because both paragraphs look the same size. Okay, let's proceed. Okay. Some scientists think that it's better for children to start learning foreign language at primary school than school. The main advantage is that exposing children to learning foreign languages impacts their future job, and this outweighs the principal's disadvantage of youngsters being busy by other subjects. So first mistake is here, foreign language at primary school, then school. What kind of school? Nursery school or secondary school? It had to be mentioned here. It cannot be just school because here the student is mentioning primary school. So then the student is comparing. So is it secondary school? Is it a high school? What kind of school? The main advantage is that exposing children to learning foreign languages impact their future job, and this outweighs the principal disadvantage of youngsters being busy by other subjects. Here it's a little confusing, the position of a student. It has to be wording is unclear. That's why it's be rephrased. Okay, here the student has placed the word expert with scientists. And the rest of the part has not been changed, has not been paraphrased. Here the student has very poor phrasing skills. Let's count as original one. We can have edited version now. When a task is very short, for example, online, then the task is given. What you can do is you can give your information that is directly linked to task. That's how you can add a count. That's how you can gain the words. The student could have ended here. It meant the student will argue for the benefit side. Now let's look at B1. An important process at the age of 5, they knew, and it would be good if they used the brain to learn new language. Expression is not acceptable. Especially in my country, they study foreign language from the first grade. How the examiner will know from what country you come from? They don't have so things that unclear for the examiner. State exact region maybe. Kids. I wouldn't advise the students to use the word kids in the essay. It's not formal. And such a well-paid one. Well-paid is a good expression, but well-paid job maybe. Instead of saying affect future job, maybe to their future, they can prosper. It's clear the student has not planned the essay at all. The ideas are not connected. There is unity. Vocabulary sometimes doesn't even suit to the place. So now let's edit. And is it is an advantage-disadvantage essay. So your opening sentence should tell that this is the first advantage, this is the major advantage, or this is the major disadvantage, or primary advantage or disadvantage. I have seen any essay from you guys where you stated that, yeah, this is the first advantage, this is the second advantage. None. So what student has said in this one line? I have phrased it into 2 sentences and it sounds much better. Much clearer. Now let's start with the It's Kids part. Five to 11 are active. So now we have finished with the first advantage. And as the student has taken advantage side, we have to add another advantage. By doing so, you don't just start a second advantage by naming the advantage itself, but you have to say, you have to use linking words. Your paragraph should be coherent. So another advantage, that's how you should start. Now, after proposing your second argument, you have to give a support explanation why it's so. Even though you don't have example, it's okay here. So now let's look at the word count. Okay, now it's good. The student has separated 2 clauses of paragraph into 2 paragraphs. That's unacceptable. Both clauses must be in the same paragraph. Now, a well-known problem is that children can be responsible at this time. That is a good argument. They can be childish. We shouldn't forget that first of all, they are kids. They want to play, to jump, and doing childish things. As an example, we can remember our childhood. We wanted to play in the street all the time. As you remember, I have already mentioned that you cannot give an example yourself, your family, your friends. It's impossible. It's not academic at all. And look at the language of the paragraph. It seems as the vocabulary is quite academic, but the way in the manner that the student is using it makes it like a street language, childish things. The paragraph has only 3 lines and the word child is repeated 3 times. It has to be changed. Again, here the student hasn't got opening sentence. Whether disadvantages, where it is advantage paragraph, it's not stated, so it has to be. Potential disadvantage. Okay, now notice the first paragraph is a little bigger than the second. That's how it should be when your essay type is like this one. Do the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? Because your stronger side will have 2 points, whereas the weaker one will have only 1. Okay, now look at this piece of art. Now look at this in conclusion. Learning new language is good, but we are not out to overestimate their abilities. The wording is good, but it's not conclusion. I would understand if it was real exam and you had no time. But guys, you wrote it at home. So have some respect towards the academic essay and write a proper conclusion. And in fact, your conclusion should start with the wording such as in conclusion, to conclude with, or to sum up even, but not this one. Look at it. Okay, in conclusion. Let's give proper conclusion to this one. As in the disadvantage part, we mentioned about schools, about them already having so many subjects, and it will be for the student hard to manage. We mentioned about the tutors at primary school, so they have to control. Now look, it's much better than having just one line. Proper conclusion is needed. Now let's put all into one. Now you see this essay looks much better than what we had at the start. That's what kind of essays I expect when I give you homework, when I explain the structure. Okay, it was feedback 2. I hope the author of this essay is here now. Okay, now let's move to the next feedback, feedback 3. Guys, please, before sending your essays, make sure that you have task given, like this one. Okay, it's about computers, discuss advantages and disadvantages and give your opinion. So now let's look at the essay. Okay, it looks super short. The word count is 196 words. Already the mark is decreased. But the structure has been followed. There's advantage, disadvantage, and opinion paragraph and conclusion. Okay, now let's discuss. It's original. Computers are becoming most needed equipment in school lessons. I completely agree with this statement, but also it has plus and minuses. Guys, when you are learning English in your first days, that's how you should write. When I was reading, I was thinking about who wrote it, because it seems like the author of this essay is a 12, 13-year-old student. Because look at the language, it's really simple. And it's not connected at all. There is no paraphrasing. There is no good thesis statement given. Actually, here you can see even double thesis statement. I completely agree with this statement, but I also it has plus and minuses. There is double thesis statement. Okay, let's start. I know I have mentioned that you are not allowed to start with nowadays, but these days is easiest way to start essays for those ones who are just start writing essays. I know that the student is new in essay writing, and I understand the mistakes, but I have been covering task 2 for the past 1 month, and I really do expect better essays than this one. Okay. These days, computers are considered as an never ever say that you agree with this statement. Restate it. Change the wording in the statement and give the correct statement from give. Now, as you can see, the statement is clear. Your position is clear. The examiner doesn't need to guess. And it's full. In your essays, do not just say the advantage of computers. No, mention what kind of advantage is it. Is it a major one? Is it the main one? Is it the primary one? Because it does add you the words. So your word count can be significantly increased due to these little words. The advantages of computers is that they can help the students in every school subject. Some exact science like math, physics need difficult calculated works, and students cannot work on this kind of tasks without computers. For example, when you have solved big math problem, then you want to check the answer, need computer programs. First of all, in mathematics and physics, you need a calculator, not computer. You see the difference? Whole point of this essay is now wasted. The paragraph is wasted. It cannot be used. It has no point, meaningless. Maybe if the student has phrased it in different manner, in different wording, then it could have sounded better. But now what the student is saying is he or she needs a calculator, not a computer. Now let's edit it. As the student said that they did the calculation, as far as I understood, they want to simplify the work. So I will take this part of the argument. So instead of naming exact subject, you can just name the sphere science. Science includes mostly all the subjects at school, so it's better. I got a message saying that one student cannot see the screen. Okay, now it's clear. Okay, great. So just saying the use of computers can be repetitive in the essay. So you can mention what exactly makes these computers helpful. So remember our lessons at the center. The computers are used and it stands in one place, but what computers gives us, it gives us videos, audios, visually you can see it on the board. So that's what makes it more understandable and more interactive. So mentioning it in the essay can be a really good point. So now this paragraph has a point and has a clear example. I took as much as I could from this paragraph. I hope the student will rewrite this essay by adding new arguments, new supports, and will resend it back. Okay, now disadvantage part. The disadvantage of computers in school lessons are can be big health problems. Students which are sits more than one lesson in front of computers can lose their vision. To illustrate, when you finish your first lesson working with computer and you go to your second lesson, your eyes will have been tired. In bad case, you can harm your vision. First of all, there's a lot of grammar mistakes. The student doesn't see the difference between plural and singular. The word choice quite poor, and the whole paragraph is repeating one thing. The repetition is too clear, and it has to be edited fully. Okay, let's change this part. The main disadvantage of computers being accessible. On daily basis at school. Is its negative effect on health. Students spend hours at school. So as a result of the major time spent in front of the screen, the students can lose their vision. We gave the explanation and the result, but still paragraph is quite small compared to the first, so now we have to give an example. I will not give a statistic, but general statement about the fact that everyone knows. Majority of the children suffering from poor eyesight are those who regularly use computers and it's enough. Here you could have added about the school age, that they are directly connected, but it's enough too. Okay, in my point of view, computers would not harm students' vision if students follow regulations, but also nowadays smart computers with smart monitors do not affect on your vision. So now the student is giving statement, argument that it may harm, it will not harm if the regulations are followed, but actually the computers do not harm. So it doesn't make sense. Give one argument and do not rebuttal it. Give proper explanation. What can be done here? Okay, the start is okay. Point of view. computer would not harm students if no, it's not connecting well. Let's change it. If, in my point of view, computers are not dangerous to eyesight. A child, if it is not used beyond the prescribed limit. Prescribed limit is given limit. Computers are provided at school to keep the student to keep students in front for hours, but to increase while writing your essays, proofread at least twice, because you do have a time at home, and it's good to check your grammar and sentence structure, and if those arguments that you're giving are relevant or not. In conclusion, I think the advantages of computer are more than disadvantages, and also they will be useful for students in their school subjects forever. Guys, you are not speaking. It's not a speaking club to give such statements. Try to be a little academic, read example essays. Look at each other's essays. I daily send feedbacks, at least of 5-6 students. They are around now 100. So go and look at those essays and see how others are writing. We have finished now. Now we can see the full essay. Paragraphs are balanced. Arguments and examples are there. 3 essay feedbacks has taken us an hour. Would you like to continue? I was planning to cover at least 6 because those were really important. Okay, again, the same question about computers being used at school. Okay, I will do it faster. Computers are becoming an essential part of school lessons these days. It's obviously because we are living in fast developing world, so timing requires new technologies. First of all, the first and second sentence, they are not interrelated. And the student doesn't have a thesis statement. When the task is asking you to give your opinion, guys, give it. It's not that hard. If the student has a clear thesis statement where he's taking the advantages side. Many paragraphs. On the one hand, people who are being taught through computers will be more well educated than the people who are taught by using books and notebooks. Furthermore, it's going to be much easier for those children who attend schools equipped with the computers to work with new technology because they will now know how to use and work on it. Okay, on the one hand, and on the other hand is good, but I would advise you to use them in discussion essays. Exactly, discussion. So when the task asks to discuss both sides and give your opinion. But when it is advantage essay, give opening sentences using the word advantage, benefit, drawback, disadvantage, use them. Instead of giving example, I will give the result. So first paragraph is now done. Now the next, on the other hand. This paragraph is not even a paragraph, it's a shame to call it a paragraph. On the other hand, people can get used to easy life, the life without doing any movements, which leads to couch potato lifestyle. Come on, guys. What is more, using computer a lot has negative influence on person's health and eyesight. Straightforward expressions are not welcomed in academic essays, so please keep these expressions inside. Very far, far from the essays. I think the owner of this essay is now online. And therefore spend most of their time in front of the screen by harming their health. I didn't say I included health because I didn't want to be repeated in my example. It's last paragraph to be edited. Okay, in my opinion, pupils who are taught through computers will have a bright future if they use computers and new technologies properly, by having a time limit while working in computer and using it only for self-development. Okay. In my opinion, pupils who are taught through computers have higher chance of doing better in life. In fact, technology gives access to unlimited information that can make the learning process faster, and it expands the horizon of the student. For self-development, they use the horizon. Okay, the conclusion. To conclude, conducting lessons by using computers has cons and pros for students. However, if computers are used in the right way, it can help people a lot. It's like a fairy tale. To conclude, although conducting lessons using computers may have negative consequences on the health of a learner, the benefits that it provides is significantly more, as it is the tool that makes the school topics to be comprehended better. Here, the student can continue talking about the successful future, successful job, but I will stop here. The full, we will not discuss this one today. Now it's the full essay, how it looks. Do you have any questions? Maybe out of these four essays, maybe your one was here and you have some questions. I would continue making more essays, but as I see, you got a little tired. I will have a lesson tomorrow too, only for marking. because you have to see the essays and those students have to see their mistakes visually. Because me writing on the Word file editing is not enough. They have to hear it and they have to see their mistakes. So that's why I will conduct a lesson tomorrow too at 11 o'clock. I will mark the rest of the essays around 5. So all the students that are behind, that they have problems, they can see and they can fix their mistakes. Okay, great. If you don't have questions regarding the marking, I will end the session here. I will not give homework today because you already have your mocks to write. I will give homework tomorrow. So do not forget to join in to participate tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And if you want your work to be marked online, please send your essays earlier.